This atheist pressed Jordan Peterson on the existence of God, and you're not going to believe his answer. So make sure to watch till the end, because I think I have something that will tie this whole video together for a Christian biblical response.
When horrible things happen to me, or I feel, or I read some terrible thing going on in the world, yes, those are tragedies going on in the world, my response is, nothing matters. It's all empty and meaningless. This is how the world is. Get used to it. Get on with it, girl.
That sounds like a...
Wow! That sounds so depressing and so sad. How could you say that?
very Zen Buddhist way of dealing
I guess it is.
meaning.
Well, it's a paradoxical way, though.
It is
the
kind
first,
of paradoxical.
The first part of that is nihilistic, and the second part isn't. So how do you reconcile those two things? Why get on with it, girl?
Because, well, here's another thing. I've often done this with my students. Let's suppose you become nihilistic. Nothing matters. There's no point in doing that. I mean, I think we live in a pointless universe. What are you going to do? And I say to them, like William James in his wonderful thing about getting up in the morning, but that's a slightly different point that he makes there. But I say to them, okay, tomorrow morning, when you wake up, think it's all pointless. There's no point in doing anything. Now, what are you going to do? Well, actually, you're going to need to go to the loo. You're going to get out of bed and you're going to go to the bathroom. And when you're there, you'll think, actually, I'm hungry. I think I want to go down to the kitchen. I probably should put my slippers on. Why don't I get dressed? You go and have something to eat. And then you think, I'm bored. And you go to university and go into your lectures. And, we are not creatures who will just not do anything. To me, to go through that process, which I've done in the past a lot, and it's just natural now, is a very positive way of living. To accept the meaningless and ultimate emptiness of everything, and accept that this creature here, this thing, this evolved creature just will get on with life.
But you're not accepting the meaninglessness of it, even by going through those actions that you described.
You don't think so?
Not at all,
how
because
can you say that?
Because you're acting as if those things are meaningful.
Yes, I am. I'm
right.
acting
okay.
as though those things are
You're
meaningful.
pretending that they're meaningful?
Pardon?
Are you pretending that they're meaningful?
No, I'm not pretending. My way of putting it would be that those meanings are constructed by myself and others.
They're personal
and they're
meanings rather than...
because of the kind of creatures we are, because of the meme
But they're not
plexes,
constructed.
I'd like to hear
Hunger
Jordan's
isn't
response to
constructed. Neither is your desire to use the loo. None of that's constructed.
No. But the fact that there is a loo is part of culture.
Yeah, well, thank
And the
God
fact
for that.
Yeah.
But see...
thank God, would you, for that? Sorry, that's a poor joke.
Well, you see, so imagine this. You have the proximal meanings that you described that are sort of a priori, right?
Yep.
They're handed to you. You might consider them as needs or drives, although they're not. They're personalities. That's not the right way of conceptualizing them. But then there's the intermingling of all those needs and drives, let's say, and that constitutes a new layer of structure, because it isn't just that you have to eat and that you have to use the washroom and that you have to have something to drink and that you have to be warm enough or cool enough to survive. It's that you have to do all those things at the same time in a situation where you're going to have to propagate that across time, and you're going to have to do it with a bunch of other people. Yep. And it's always been like that. And so what that means is that out of those proximal meanings, higher meanings arise. And you might say, well, those meanings are arbitrary. And I would think those are religious meanings.
I wouldn't say they are arbitrary, but I would say they were constructed. And it's very interesting. Reading your book...
What do you mean by constructed?
Well, they are a consequence of mimetic evolution, of the language that people are brought up in, the culture they live in, the arguments they have. I mean,
what about the biology that they're given?
Well, we start with the biology, and the memes build on top of that.
The memes are biology too.
Well, by definition, they are. Well,
see, this is the thing.
I would follow Dawkins in saying, well, talk about genes as biology, talk about memes as culture. That's all I meant by dividing that. But let me say this.
Yeah, but I don't accept that division.
But I want to get back to what we're saying about meaning. Reading your book made me think a lot about what you mean by meaning, and your claim that we should have a meaningful life or strive for a meaningful life, that meaningfulness is important. And I kept asking myself, do I live that way? What meanings does my life have? And, if I think of something like, well, most of my striving goes into writing my books. And is that meaningful? And again, I have the same response when I ask myself that question. It's just what this body does.
Then you should listen to the body and stop listening to the thing that's criticizing it.
And what would the body say?
It would say, write your book and try to be as clear as you possibly can about it.
That's what I do. And that's exactly what I do.
What I said at the beginning is that the atheist types act out a religious structure and criticize it.
No, there's no religious structure. We come to this big question now.
She got triggered that he said that they're living out a religious structure. Living out a purpose-driven life is so important. And when this lady's like, oh, there's no meaning to life, and just telling yourself that over and over, it's going to help you and it's going to solve all your problems. But that's just completely not true. Like, when people realize that there's no meaning to life, there's no point to do anything at all. There's a good point that you could get into is like, yes, obviously, I mean, some of these things I really care about probably don't matter. But the thing that does matter is having a relationship with Jesus and knowing that you are a child of God truly can help you in your life of meaning. Because when you have a relationship with God, you have intrinsic value. You are made in the image of God, and knowing that will truly give you meaning. And when you have a relationship with God and you know that He's real, you know He has a purpose, and He designed you for a certain reason to live this life and to do the will of God and to follow Him, to follow what He wants you to do. And that is so, so important, and that will truly, truly help you each and every day. Psalms 139 verse 13 says, "You made all the delicate inner parts of my body and knit me together in my mother's womb. Thank you for making me so wonderfully complex. Your workmanship is marvelous. How well I know it. You watched me as I am being formed in utter seclusion, as I was woven together in the dark of the womb. You saw me before I was born. Every day of my life was recorded in your book. Every moment was laid out before a single day had passed." So guys, God has an amazing plan for your life, and He has given you so much purpose. So if you've ever had doubts to continue on going on, just trust in God. Trust in His Son, Jesus. He came to this earth to die on the cross for your sins so that you can be saved, so that you can have purpose in Him, so that you can go to Him in your darkest times, so that you can go to Him when all else fails. When there seems to be no meaning in life, you can go to Jesus. He will set you free. He will save you from your sins. I encourage you guys to do that today when everything else seems to fail. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you all have an amazing day. Please comment down below your thoughts, what you think, what is going on in your mind. I want to know. Please, thank you so much for watching. Subscribe, and you might also like this video here.